welcome back to this channel. My name is Ruth and this is Something Worth Seeing, where we help others help themselves. So today is a psychology related interview, and over the last weeks and months I've been sharing with you my experience of these interviews, and it's just been my desire to get a job that is psychologically related to me, my course, and just all that I've been doing. And I would say it has not been an easy road, and I would just like to share with you today interview number 7 and interview number 8. I had issues with my phone actually wanting to upload this video, so I'm just going to give you a summary of those 2 interviews, and then next week you will have some snippets of my final interview of the job that I'm currently in. So stay tuned for that, and make sure you like, comment and subscribe so you can keep updated of that. So interview number 7 was July 2020, and this, again, like every other job that I talk about, I always say I want this job. It's a really good opportunity, the team seemed nice, but this one was something I really thought would be good. It was a forensic service, so I thought I would be able to be challenged in the right way. The team as well seemed so lovely. Like through the interview I could just tell that I would get along with them, and it was a community base. I've always wanted to work in the community. I think I kind of prefer the community, and also it was in a diverse area, so I thought it would be quite nice as well just to be in a diverse area. So the interview, this interview I would say was different to all my other interviews. All my other interviews were basically just questions, like interview questions, but this interview I had to prepare a presentation, and then after the presentation was then me going into this interview. And again, this interview was online because it was like during the pandemic stage. So yeah, so I did a presentation on child abuse and mental health. And the reason why I chose this because I was reading a lot about the service of forensic mental health services, and there was usually something written about the correlation between child abuse and personality disorder in forensic services. So I thought, okay, that would be good. And also a key reason I did that because I had just basically written an essay on that, an assignment, so it was like really fresh in my mind. I had like current papers that were written in 2020 about that area, so I thought this would be good for me to write about it. So yeah, I did my presentation first, and then I had my interview questions. And like some interviews I know straight away that this is a no, but this one was one that I wasn't really sure about if I was going to get the job or not, because it was a nice interview, but of course you sometimes go away thinking I could have added more to that. But this one, I felt there were some questions that were really strong, but some questions I felt I could have probably articulated myself a bit on that. So the question for me that I felt I could that was quite good actually was on diversity. There wasn't really a question specifically on diversity, but because of the climate that was going on around that time, I made it my point to make sure I highlighted things that made me different. And also from the previous interview that I had, I think the 3rd interview maybe, or no, the 4th interview, that when she gave me feedback, and I actually had a video about this, but again my phone just doesn't want to upload these videos. She basically said that I should really highlight the things, like diversity, because it is quite rare in the services of mental health to have people working in the services from ethnic backgrounds. So really use those weaknesses per se as strengths in your interview, how you can relate to vast amounts of people. And because this was a very diverse area, I made sure I highlighted it. There's different religions here, different races, so I made sure I brought that as well, because as well I am a Christian, so I kind of talked about how I have an understanding of religion and how I could give people an understanding that they could understand if I was to get this job. So actually, when I got feedback about 2.5 weeks later, that was something they really highlighted on. That was a very strong answer, and they said, you know, that I was a very strong candidate, but it was tough, and something that they wish, well, not wish, but something they pointed that I could do to help me that was not as strong was my presentation. So I was very articulate, you know, in my presentation, but they said that I should have linked my presentation more with their actual service. So let me kind of think of an example. Maybe talk about, you know, how child abuse and mental health would affect the current service, the forensic service, the community service. So maybe talking more about that. So I should have done that for that interview. So I did not get the job, but this job, they said that I am going to be on the waiting list. I thought, wow, that's quite nice. So that means that if things didn't go well or someone didn't want the job, who got the job, I would have got the job. So that happened, and I didn't really think anything of it. And funny enough, someone I know from my church kind of thought that, you know, they were going to call me back. But as I was in the place that, you know, I can't be waiting for things, let's just apply and just see how things go. So I kind of left it as that. And then 2 months later, in September, I think it was the second week, I got a call back saying, you know, that I was a very strong candidate, and they've got a new role that has just literally opened up in one of their services, and would I like the job? Even though I was so happy, I was like, wow, this is a really good opportunity. And it was very tempting actually to take this job, because, you know, it was in a team which I felt I could really work well with. It was in a diverse area, and I did know a couple people who actually live around that area, and just other things which I thought would be more possible if I lived in that area. But around this time, I'd actually just been offered a job from the current job that I'm in, and I thought to go with this job and to kind of challenge myself actually. So yeah, I didn't end up saying yes, even though it was hard. I had to remember that even though it was a great opportunity, not every opportunity is for me, and there probably was a reason why that happened. But it was nice to hear, it was nice to know that at least I had a job. You know, if this wasn't going to happen, or if I didn't get this job, I would have had a job around that time. So yeah, that is how interview number 7 went. And then interview number 8 was August the 10th, 2020. And this interview for me, I would say, didn't really go as well. I didn't really sell myself. I wasn't really reflective, and I could kind of tell, because you see when you're answering questions, and there's 2 ways. Sometimes, you know, people can answer follow-up questions to help you and to allow you to speak more, but it was like I didn't really know what else to say. And so far my interviews, I realized, you know, I speak quite lengthy on a topic or on the question, and I kind of know what to say. But this one, I don't even know, it was just one of those days. You know, we have those days where we may not have much clarity, or it just, things might not go well. So interview number 8 was literally like interview number 2. And funny enough, those 2 interviews were based in areas which I'd lived previously. So I kind of rationalized it in my head and thought maybe it's time for new beginnings and not going back to the old places. So yeah, interview number 8 didn't work as well. And funny enough, out of all my 9 interviews, I did not even get a response to say if I got this job or not. So I didn't get a call, and I kind of felt that was kind of unprofessional. But in my heart, I knew during the interview that I did not get the job. So I wasn't really like thinking, oh, when am I going to get a call back? When am I going to get a response or anything like that? So I kind of just left that one to the side, because around that time as well, I found that I have another job interview. This is even before interview number 7 call me and say, you know, that we have a job for you. So yeah, because I have another interview And I personally believe that I'd really researched for the current job that I'm currently in. I kind of just let it go and just, said, there will be another interview. At least interviews are coming now. So yes, that was my experience with interview number 7 and interview number 8. And yes, if you have any ideas of what videos I should have next, the next video coming around this time is actually scheduled. It's been on my schedule for so long, but I wanted to make sure I put all my interviews and my experience and my reflections before putting in. So this was my final interview and I actually got this job. So stay tuned next week to actually watch this video. And yeah, it's just nice that I can really share this experience. I think it's just really showing as well that, for some people it might be like one interview, got the job, everything. But for me, it took me 9 interviews, hundreds and hundreds of applications to get the job where I am now. So yes, it had this year, 2020 for me, has really taught me resilience, has really taught me, yes, we do need to rest and take care of ourselves. But when we have that rest, we get up and try again and again, take that feedback, use it for your next interview and keep going. And I wish I could actually uploaded one video that I had, but as I said before, my phone is just not wanting to be compatible with my computer now. So those videos might not be able to be uploaded. But yes, I would really say take feedback from every job interview and use that for your next interview. But yes, hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. And if you have stayed this long, make sure you like, comment and subscribe. See you in the next video. Have a lovely week. And if I do not see you, then Happy New Year. And I hope your year is a blessing to you, a year of loveliness, kindness and joy. See you later.